excited to be here to do
My
this.
name is Laura Foster.
Guitar player extraordinaire slash resident fun guy at Northside Baptist
Trio Quinn. I'm actually Charlie's cousin.
Neil Baker. Eddie.
Baines Blanton. I'm a junior at Lowndes High
Drew
School.
Peterson. I'm a student at Lowndes High School.
All right, welcome back to the podcast, and today I have my good friend Luke Powell with me. Man, I'm so glad to have you on, and yeah, I mean, if you could just go into your story, and then we'll just keep on rolling.
For sure. So, my name's Luke. I'm a 17-year-old. I attend Lowndes High School. I'm an upcoming senior. I'm taking 3 dual enrollment classes this upcoming semester, actually, so I'll only have 1 class at the high school. I'll be moving around a little bit.
Yeah.
I go to Crosspointe Church. Me and a bunch of buddies, we go there. A lot of people there, very friendly, very welcoming, and man. Glad to be here, man.
So, just to kind of tell people and give some background, me and Luke, we've met, was it in Mr. North's class, or was it before? I thought it was Mr. North.
Sophomore year.
Yeah, Lord, that's been a long time ago. And, I was a junior then, and, at first, I don't think we really talked much. We just kind of just, we're just kind of just looking at each other's projects. You made, this safe thing, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's like a, because in engineering, you did about a lot of 3D printing and things like that. But then it was during coding. Oh boy, I still think about that. Dude, it was chaotic in that classroom. Between Miss Roberts and Miss Tyndall again, we had too much fun. I think honestly.
And I mean, we got our work done too.
We did. We got our work done.
Past days.
We did. I mean, there was some raisin throwing.
Yeah.
I just got to mention that because that was really funny.
Yeah.
Our friend Jackson would bring these trail mix things to class, and there was these raisins in the packs, and we would and I would just look over and I see Luke just chunking them across the room. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, we've had fun, and and I was telling, because one thing that people were asking me is you're gonna miss people when you are not longer at Lowndes, and I'm like, yeah, but the thing about it is I've got their numbers, I've got your numbers. It's not like I can't call you or whatever. And I don't know if I've told you this, but I'll be back August 29th for an FCA episode. So
Be there, man.
yeah. So, you talked about Crosspointe, what is it that draws you to Crosspointe?
Probably just start off, they're very welcoming. So you walk in and, I mean, they all greet you, they all act like they've met you before, you're their best friend. And it's just easy to meet new people there.
Yeah.
And every time I go there, I see somebody different. I see somebody new every single time. And it's awesome because it's not just the same crowd of people just every single time. You're seeing new faces, you're meeting new people. I mean, that's my favorite.
That's really good. Yeah. And so how does Crosspointe tie in with your story? Because I mean, it's with your testimony. Cause, it's a big part. Your church is a big part of your testimony. So just kind of go into that.
Yeah. So
it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while. So I started at Crossroads. I used to go there for a little bit, and then we kind of stopped going to church for a while. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, I need to start going back. I need to get back on this. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I went to Crosspointe because it's pretty close to the house, and I knew some people that were over there, so I wouldn't be just I wouldn't know anybody there. You know what I mean? And I went, and more friends started coming, and then a lot more people started coming, and the youth got really, really big.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's massive.
Yeah.
And so there's just so many people, and just kind of stayed there. That's where I'm at now.
Yeah. Sweet, bro. I mean, and it was funny. There's even some old teachers of mine that actually work there now, like Mr. Doyle. And I was like,
oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. And it was so funny because the other day, or not, I'll say the other day, I think probably a couple months ago, because that new Culver's just opened up down the road from there. Mm-hmm. And me and my mom, we wanted to go check it out. And we're like, let's just see what in the world is about. And, we saw him in there because he's like, yeah, I go in there once a week because I was right down the road. I'm like, dude, and he told us he worked there, and I was like, well, that's really cool. But yeah, I've been in there. I think once or twice. Went in there for the Christ Mix Winners Rally a couple years ago. Dude, it is really nice in there. Yeah, well, because when I first pulled up, I was like, oh wait, this is a church because it's not the traditional church building. Mm-hmm. It's more of kind of looks like, because it wasn't something previous before. I think it was something beforehand, because it kind of looked more like just like a warehouse building. Yeah, but then you're like, oh, this is a big church building, and but yeah, on the inside it's Okay, this is really nice.
It's really nice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it is.
And I think everybody has gotten a picture next to that cross or has a picture of that cross in the lobby right there.
100%.
Like, dude, I've got one in my camera roll somewhere. But, you know, what makes Crosspointe different, in your opinion, from other churches in the area?
Ooh, different. So, first thing I think of is probably the youth.
Yeah.
It's massive. It's so big, and there's just so many people. There's so many leaders. There's a lot of leaders. Because when you have all those kids, you got to have somebody to watch.
Yeah, you do. Right.
Yeah, I think that is the one thing that I think sets it different. It's just so big, and there's so many people, and they still find a way to, like, you know, make
have that
happen.
community, right?
Yeah,
and so, how big? Like, so from what age range is the youth group?
I think it starts mainly about like 6th grade, middle school through like
graduates.
senior year.
Yeah, and that, you know, because I think that's what most youth groups are, and that's what mine is at Northside here. You know, and one thing that I find interesting, and I'm sure your pastors can contest to this, is it's really interesting to watch youth pastors come up with messages that fit all of those age groups. Yeah. It's like, you know, you don't want to be like too forceful because you got some young kids here, but then you want the older kids to get something out of it and go deeper in.
And they're very good at that there.
Yeah.
Ross, he does a great job. Jake Culpepper, he does a great job.
Yeah.
And I mean, they all do very well. At just helping everybody understand it better.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, because like what you said, there's the younger kids and there's the older kids, and they both understand it differently. So you got to.
Well, every mind is going to get something different out of you know. And if I'm just spitballing, I don't know how many you have a night, but say if you have 100, per night, those 100 minds are going to get something different out of the message every single night. Yep. And that's something that's so cool. It's like, imagine, approaching your pastor and you're like, I thought it this way. And they're like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. And so, like, all these different opinions, but, it really makes a lot of sense, and that's really, really cool. And I think what's so cool about, mine and your church, from what it sounds like, is even though these groups are so big, there's still that sense of community in there, and it's kind of like that small town feel still. Like there's, everybody knows everybody. Like, if you ask one of them, hey, I need your help with something, you could ask. And that's a really good feeling to have, for sure. But so what impact does Crosspointe Youth? I mean, you kind of talked about it, like go deeper. Has it had on you personally?
I've made a lot of like really good friends, and Jay, he's one of the leaders. He works there, and me and him are really close now. Like we'll go and play golf, and
nice.
And sometimes we'll just go out and eat, talk about things, how things are going. And I think it's all awesome. It's just the connections that I've made with people, and those people bring me closer to God too. Yeah. And so I think it's great because I got these people I can hang out with and have fun with, and they're also bringing me closer to where I need to be instead of bringing me away.
Right, and it's the it's the people you want to be around too. Exactly. Because there's been a couple times where I'll have it'd be like a Wednesday after school or whatever, and I'm coming up the north side or whatever, and I'm just like, it was not the best day. I had no particular reason why. I just was not feeling it, because I'd been to school, whatever. And we know how Lowndes can be, and we'll talk about that more later. But, but then after coming to youth group, I'm just like, it's like, you get a shot of Jesus in you and you're good. And it's also being the people around, and it's the people you want to be around. And I find myself going, man, like, why can't I be around these people every single day? Because I'd love to be, and I know, and we're kind of I'm kind of jumping around, but one thing I find is like, you look at, this year, I feel like I'm in my best self in my youth group, but then I'm at Lowndes or wherever, and I'm like, why do I act so much different? Because I know I do. We're all guilty of that, and I'm 100%. Like, I shouldn't do that, and I'm like, and then I think to myself, I know God's watching me. Why am I acting like this? But I think it's also to do with the environment you're around.
100%.
And I'm not saying like, when I say like Lowndes is not a bad school, but some of the people, it makes that environment. Yeah, with 3,000 kids and 3,000 heads, there's gonna be a lot of differing opinions. And we kind of, I don't think you've really discussed it with me that much, but what's it like running your own detailing business?
It's awesome, man. You get to. So I've got a business called Southern Suds, and
nice.
I've got like 3 friends that help out every now and then. We just we go around. We see who needs a little wash. I got a website that you can
nice.
Go on.
Yeah, and I'll link it in the bottom. Yeah, you send that to me, and I'll put it down there.
And it's just awesome helping people.
Yeah.
Even though they're paying me, I mean, I'd do it if they weren't paying me. It's fun. I enjoy it, and just get to be outside.
Yeah. And that's the key, is like you can find something that you want to do. You know, even though, and I've talked about it with you here a few minutes ago, is I'm not getting paid for the stuff I do here. But you know what? I love doing it. You know, and even though if one person looks at it and they are informed about what's going on here, that's all that matters. And it helped them out, you know? And that's the cool part, you know, and if you can, like I said, if you can find something you like doing, then it's not going to feel like a job. Yeah. You know? Exactly. And that's really cool that you do that, because I think, you know, there's not many kids these days that want to do stuff like that. You know, cause that's manual labor. You know, that's like getting out and doing stuff. And exactly. And it gets hot down here. Hot, I mean, so I hope you're getting paid well for it, though, for the jobs you do. You know? Oh, yeah. That's really good. So now we're going to go into youth questions, and you can throw your own experiences in there as well if you want. When you look at the youth today, do you see hope, or are you worried about the future?
Honestly, I see a little bit of both. Yeah. Because when you're around some people, you know,
like if you're around people at Lowndes, I'm just going to give you an example, for sure. Or if you're around like people at your church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you're around like some people at Lowndes or at school, or like those kids. Yeah. Definitely, I could be worried a little bit, but it's also I do have hope, because if we just, you know, spread the gospel and get the message to as many people as we can, right? You know, we can fix that, and we can make the youth the future and make that future better.
Right. Amen. Yeah, and you know, one thing that I was, you know, and it's a small thing, and I might give you some, you know, if I see you again. I should have brought some today, but I've got these little cards that, you know, I've sometimes I'll pass around, and I was leaving them in places. Yeah. Like I went to Savannah and just like, you know, put them everywhere. Like I've put them in restaurants wherever we went, and it just literally on the front it says "You were seen, known, loved," and it's got a verse on the back with some additional resources. You know, that might be just a card to us, but you don't know what that little impact could be if you leave it there and somebody picks it up. Yeah. And you know. And even if you give that to somebody, be prepared for a conversation to start, you know, because you might give it to them and like, what's this? And then you start talking back and forth. And, you know, and I've said this, you know, 1,000 times, you know, I guess just always be intentional, especially at Lowndes, where you're, you know, and wherever you're at, about your surroundings and how people are acting. Because you don't know what impact you can have on somebody, because it's pretty early on. And like, I think it was it? Might have been senior year. Might have been senior year, 11th grade. I don't remember. It was early on in the semester, though. And there was this girl that was, like, she was, like, you know, we were in the elevator. She was crying. I was like, you know, what's up? Like, nobody, it was a packed elevator, and we were about to leave, and nobody else was, like, acknowledging it. And I'm not saying this to, like, brag on myself. I'm bragging on what God was doing here. But I was like, you know, what's going on? You know, and she, you know, said that something was going on and everything, and I just tried to be praying for it, and then, you know, we got out of the elevator, went about our business. Well, then I asked her later, because she messaged me and said, hey, thanks for doing that. And I said, of course. And she said that, I asked her, I said, was I the only person that said anything, even teachers, students, whatever? And she said, yeah, you were the only person that said. I'm like, what? Yeah. You know, that's crazy, like, because I feel like, and that's another thing with our, you know, just youth in general today, as I noticed, and I'm sure we're both guilty of this too sometimes, is that, you know, our youth are very self-centered. You know, we don't look out for each other as much. And again, youth groups do that. You know, we look out for each other, but a lot of people in the world that live for this world, they're very self-centered. And that's one thing that I think we can help fix.
Yeah. I think we all just need to try and come together, you know, to make that bigger impact.
Yeah. And one thing I've said too, which I think would be awesome, is, you know, getting a bunch of, like, you know, just even churches or youth groups together from churches and, like, teaming up to do a community project.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I don't know, stopping hunger or something. Yeah. I'm just spitballing an idea, but I think it'd be so cool to bring, because a lot of us know each other, you know, from, like, you know, from different churches and all that. I think it would be really cool if we all came together and, like, denomination aside, I don't even care about that right now, you know, because Jesus didn't, so why should we, right? In that moment, to team up and help. And I think it would be so cool. I don't know how that would work, but it would be so awesome if, you know, if thousands of youth from Lowndes County could get together and just
do something big.
You're right, and just knock a problem out. Yeah. You know, I mean, and I'm just saying hunger because that's the one that comes to my mind, or homelessness. Yeah. You know, and I've seen that, you know, pretty much like every time I come to church, you know, I see somebody on the side of the road, and you know, I get, you know, there's some people out there, you know, and I get this viewpoint too. You know, it's like I say that, well, if they wanted help, they could go somewhere, and they can. That's fair. But what if we could help them out and get them out of those shelters even, and get them off their feet,
Get them on the first start,
and get them on their feet? Yeah, it'd be so rewarding, and they would get to see how God works in people, and they'd be so blessed by it. But maybe we'll have to pitch that one day.
Yeah, we should.
That would be cool.
Work that out, man.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give to someone who's struggling to navigate this world in a biblical way?
So, from a personal experience, I can give advice on this. The biggest thing for me is who I'm around.
Yeah.
So, like, who I put myself around and the situations I put myself in. Because I have noticed when I'm hanging out with these people that, they're bringing me away from God. And I'm noticing that in my everyday life, like, after I hang out with them, that, like, I'm slowly kind of
drifting
away from them.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, what I would say was try and surround yourself with people who are going to build you up and hold you accountable.
That's good.
And, just go to church with you, do these things, that support you and that have the same kind of beliefs. Yeah,
that's good. I mean, because you may be thinking, oh yeah, I'll hang out with one time and then and then it'll be fine. Yeah. Then second, third, fourth time, and then you're in this hole and you don't know how you got there. Because, and that's one thing that I think me and you both, I'm gonna like really watch, too, is, as we come out of school and everything, start to go to college and all that, we have to be careful about, because some friend groups, they separate and whatever and whatnot, and like say I don't know what your plans are after, but if you're going off, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what type of people you're going to run into, and you have to be careful about who you're interacting with, and who you are going to consider to be your friend, and you've got to set those boundaries when you first get up there. I've got a friend of mine. He's going to UGA, and how their rooms are. You've got a room on this side, and then you got a bathroom, and then another room. He told one of his roommates, he said, "We're Southern Baptist," and he was like, he stood his ground on that, and just to make sure before they even met that it was clear that they are Christians. And, regardless of what those guys, are going to say, we'll see. Because I'm going to, see it from the sidelines. But, they know that they're Christians. And, and that's what we also need to stand firm in. Because me and my mom have had that discussion, too, of there's so much that, because God used to be in schools, right? And I wish it still was. Right? And, but, their generations as a whole, they let that slip. And now it's not there, and now we're paying the price for it. Yeah. But that doesn't mean we can't get it back. Like I don't know if you saw it, but there's something. I think Louisiana is the first state to require the 10 Commandments back in classrooms.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, Georgia should be next.
Yes.
Please. Please, I want to see Georgia be next. But yeah.
Actually, another thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
So about navigating the world in a biblical way, other than watching who you hang around, it's making time for God. Because sometimes you'll have a long day, you're just tired, man. And
yep.
You just sometimes you could just forget about it. But you have to make that time. Whether it's 30 minutes, whether it's an hour, whether it's maybe just one night, it's just 5 minutes. You just read and pray real quick. You just got to make that time. There's time. If you got time to play on your phone or scroll through Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, you got time to read the word and get it in, man.
You got that right. No truer words have been spoken. That's right. Before we go into your life verse, from a final question, what would be your one word to describe Crosspointe and why?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
A tough question.
It's out there. Honestly, I'd probably say welcoming.
Yeah.
Very welcoming.
Yeah.
Ross and all of them, all of the leaders, all the people that work there do a great job at that. Like I said earlier, you walk in the door and they greet you like you're their best friend.
That's awesome. Yeah, and they act like they've known you for years.
Yeah,
huh?
It's great, and it makes you feel great too. You walk in the church and maybe it's your first time and you're kind of nervous because you don't know if you'll know anybody there. And you walk in and the first thing that happens is someone says, "Hey, I like your shoes," or something like that.
Yeah.
Or they'll just greet you in a very nice way or give you just a little compliment or something. It just makes you feel good.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this. As being public school, you probably the likelihood of you knowing somebody is actually more likely than say if you're a homeschool kid. Unless you're coming in with a bunch of your homeschool friends, you're not going to know that many people coming in. And and because it's funny for my youth group, it's about split 50-50 down the middle. You've got like three major school systems. You got Lowndes, Valdosta, and Lanier. Yeah. Actually, there's more Lanier kids than there are Valdosta kids here, actually. But then you've got the rest that are homeschooled. Yeah. But it's weird because you know how God allows us to blend all together, and it's like we're just one youth group, and it's so cool. It's
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Most of the kids from Crosspointe are, I think, from like Hayhire and Lowndes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, even that, it's awesome.
Yeah. And so who is there? I'm trying to think. Who do I know that goes there besides? No, I know Ruben's gone in the to some of the events and stuff, but he goes here. But I know that I've seen some friends of mine that I know that go there, and I'm like, dude, that's cool, because there's some people that you don't know if they're Christians or not, and then you see they're at these events, and you're like, because I don't get to talk to them all, that much.
Exactly.
Because there's some people, I'm just running around with different circles, but I've known them for so long, and you wonder, and you're like, are they Christians? Are they, people that, believe in God? And then you see that, and you're like, okay, that's encouraging, especially if they're really known and they're really popular too. Because you're thinking like, has that went to their head, like high school fame, I guess you could say, or is that, or if they stood grounded, and they have, But before, go ahead. No,
I was gonna jump back on the question.
No, go ahead. You're good.
About the struggling to navigate the world in a good way. Yeah. Just another thing. This is the third thing, actually. Dang.
Yeah, that could be a Baptist message now. Come on,
man. Just don't be scared. Just put the word out there. Don't feel like. Just don't feel scared to do that. If that's what you believe in, let everybody know. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just don't be ashamed.
Yeah, because you say that because one thing that I don't know who said it. It might have been a pastor or something like that, but in a sermon they were talking about, what if you and a buddy, you're at the gates of heaven, and God's like, he tells you, well done, my good faithful servant, let you in, but your buddy is at the gates and he doesn't get let in, and he's like, well, you didn't even tell me. Yeah. That would crush me so hard. Exactly. It's like, what do you mean? Like, it's like, I didn't tell you, like, because of a little bit of fear, or because I was afraid how our relationship was going to change.
Exactly.
And I know I'm saying that with me saying, I understand that too, because that's happened to me too.
Yeah, especially nowadays, I feel like a lot of people are very judgmental, and some people are scared of that. Yeah. And I feel like you just got to get over that. Like, doesn't matter what they think. You just you believe what you believe, and
if you are scared, you know what? Find a friend and go with, and spread the gospel. It doesn't, so you can be strength in numbers. I mean, don't gang up on the person, but because you want to be nice about it. But if that, because I get it, there is legit fears, especially with how the world is today and how quick they are to attack you, and with phones and social media and everything. Every moment can be recorded right then and there, and it can be cut and edited to make you sound bad. So I get it. There's people who don't want to say anything, but we have to, and it might just be in a small gesture like those cards or something else, or it might be in a big way. I don't know how God's going to use that, but either way, we have to spread His word. That's what we're called to do. But man, for your life verses, what are they and why are they important to you?
So my first one is Deuteronomy 31, verse 6. It is, be determined and confident. Do not be afraid of them. Your God, the Lord Himself, will be with you. He will not fail or abandon you. When I read that, I kind of feel like God's always with you. Like He's always going to be there with you. He's going to be protecting you, watching over you. And it just makes me feel good, like, knowing that He's always going to be there no matter what happens, no matter what you do. He'll never leave you. He'll always be by your side. Yeah. And then the next one was Psalms 23 verse 4, and it goes, even if I go through the deepest darkness, I will not be afraid, Lord, for you are with me. Your shepherd's rod and staff protect me.
That's good.
Kind of both go along the same lines. Yeah. I feel like they could. Yeah. But like even when you're sad, when you're going through rough times, or something happens, God's always there. Like, you can talk to God. Like He'll always be there for you, no matter what. And I feel like some people don't understand that. It's like, you do this horrible thing, and it's like, oh my gosh, like He's never gonna forgive me, but
He already has.
He will forgive you. He already has. Like, I think that's just my favorite part about both of those.
Amen. So it's one question I put on here originally, but for you're being a senior next year. You excited about that? How are you feeling? Like
I mean, I'm ready to get it over.
You ready?
with,
Yeah. You're kind of like me and Ashley, aren't you? Me and Ashley she was another friend of ours in that class, and I won't lie, Luke and Jackson had to hear us be like, "Oh my gosh, let us be done," because I mean, it hits you, and it hits you hard. I will say, enjoy it, but also, don't, they say that the high school years are the best years. No, they're not. Maybe back when maybe when our parents were, still in high school, but not anymore. Times have changed, and I think honestly, that's not the best times of your life. God can show you that, even growing up can be awesome. Even with how scary it is, with all the stuff that you had to figure out. But, I'm excited for you, and who knows if it's not so hot, I might show up at the graduation, but good Lord, dude, oh my gosh, it is so hot. Like, having to sit in that cap and gown for 2 hours, I didn't even realize I was like, it'll be all right. I'll be okay. No, I was not. It felt like, were you there for that one?
I couldn't make it.
No, you're fine. But dude, it was, so it was only 2 hours, but it felt like an eternity.
I bet it did. Just sitting there waiting on your name.
Yeah, well, because
you were probably in the front of the line.
The way they did it, I wasn't. It was my homeroom. And so my homeroom's Torres, and so I'm in the back of the line, and my friends have already, Stephen and Baines, they've already went and gone, whatever, cool. And then Baines was like an honorable distinction, so he's like one of the first ones to be called, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, y'all got to hurry this up. I'm getting too hot. Yeah. And I would say there's might be some strats that you have to keep yourself cool, but there's not. Yeah. That cap and gown's too hot. And I would say just wear something kind of cool under the. But you got to wear nice stuff. So
big old fan and a generator, I guess.
Hey, well, there was this girl that was sitting beside me. She had this like big them fold, them fans. She was fanning herself.
Hey, I wouldn't blame her.
They put water under your seat, but it don't help. It's already hot by the time they put it under there.
Another thing I do want to talk about, just like really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
About 2 weeks ago, Crosspointe for like the high school kids, well, actually not just high school kids, it was middle school kids too, just the youth. We all went to Chaco Springs in Talladega, Alabama, and stayed there from the 7th to the 11th. So I think we stayed there 4 nights, 5 days, and it was great. It was awesome.
Yeah,
like it was. I think that was the most fun I've ever had, and it was just great. Like we would wake up in the morning, go get breakfast, and we come back to the rooms, chill. We stayed in these like kind of dorm rooms. It was nice. So like all the high school boys were like, this door, or just all next door. So we all hang out and wake up, eat breakfast, chill in the rooms for a little bit, and then we go to worship in the morning, and then we'd have like some fun kind of games or whatever, and then have a little small group, and then go eat lunch, and then have another small group, and then go for like the night session kind of. And it was just great, dude. And I feel like me and all my friends, we all bonded on a different level that we never have before. And I feel like that's still it's still going.
Good.
We got this group chat.
That's good.
We're all talking about things that's going on in each other's lives.
Good.
We're talking about them instead of kind of keeping it to ourselves. And
well, yeah, that's
the
important
great
thing.
Having a group of people to talk to because they all have different opinions on things. So you can talk to them about this or that or this, and it's just awesome being able to get things off your chest and talk about God with your friends. You know what I mean? It brought all of us so much closer to the Lord, and
that's awesome.
It was amazing.
Yeah, and one thing it made me think of it when you said it was, when you're going through something, don't hold it in.
Exactly.
And I know as guys we do that a lot. Bring it out into the light, and you'll feel so much better. And God will work in that situation if you don't tell somebody and tell somebody you trust. It's harder for God to work in that situation if you're just holding it in.
Exactly. Talk to parents, friends, talk to God, talk to somebody.
Yeah, talk to somebody about it. And when it comes to like mentors, you mentioned a lot of them. You have a bunch of them. It sounds like. But find that older mentor that you can, confide in if you're going through something. Because they have a lot more wisdom than me and you both do. Just make sure that you can trust them and they can help you through that situation biblically. But do you have anything else you want to add or anything?
Nothing really. I just want to thank Jay a lot.
Yeah, man.
Jay and Labron and Ross a lot, and then obviously like a few of my friends, they've helped me a lot on my journey to
bro,
to Christ. But other than that, I think that's
Cool. Well, man, I'm so ecstatic you wanted to come on. I was like, because I remember I was talking. Pretty much that was like I felt like my personality for like the semester. It seemed like
it was awesome.
So thank you for coming on. Also support me with the t-shirts and everything.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, and I appreciate all the support you've given me. And man, I can't wait to see what your senior year's like.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Hope so.
Yeah. With another episode of the Young Minds Podcast coming to a close, I just want to remind you that you are never alone and faith is action. So let's get out there.